Before you begin working on the Checkpoint 1 document and evaluating the argument, first you need to read the model text so that you can identify the pieces of this argument essay so that you can evaluate the substance in the claim, you can evaluate the subclaims that she uses to support that claim, you can evaluate the evidence and how accurate and credible the evidence is that's used, and you can identify the claim and the rebuttal, or the counterclaim and the rebuttal. So this text is the model text that we are using for Checkpoint 1. You should have this resource open in the platform. My version is in a Google Doc rather than in the platform document. So together in class, we read through the introduction to identify what was her claim sentence and what subclaims did she give. And then we read her first body paragraph where we looked at her first subclaim and the evidence that she used to support that. You guys then continued reading the argument in order to identify her second subclaim and her evidence used for that subclaim, as well as to identify her counterclaim and her rebuttal. Then the Checkpoint document has you evaluate or judge those pieces to see how she constructed this argument and whether it was a solid logical argument or not. So in the platform, we used the highlighting tool and the commenting tool in order to annotate our document since we don't have a paper copy of this document. So if you will go ahead and pause to read the introduction paragraph, which starts at beauty pageants and ends at in their lives. Once you have read that introduction paragraph, we notice that at the beginning of the paragraph, she starts by introducing the topic that she is talking about, the topic of beauty pageants. She goes on to give us a little bit of background information about these beauty pageants, and she ends with her claim sentence, which we have right here. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do, if you look at our highlighting information, is we're going to highlight that in purple. So if you'll select that sentence, and then in the platform you'll click on the highlight tool in Google Docs. I'm just going to click on the highlighting icon. We're going to highlight that in purple. Now this claim sentence, we have her main claim as well as her subclaims. So her main claim is her big idea about this issue of beauty pageants. And so in class we discussed that her big opinion about this issue of beauty pageants is that they need to be eliminated. She wanted to get rid of them. So we're going to insert a comment, so you can highlight where you want your comment to be, and you can click the comment icon on the side, or you can click comment in the notebook at the top of the document. So we'll click comment, and we're going to leave a comment that says main claim, because that is her main claim. Then she has that keyword of because. Because is a signal word that we talked about that lets you know a reason is going to follow, a subclaim is going to follow. So then after that, she has her two subclaims that follow. So we're going to highlight, insert a comment, and we're going to say subclaims. So now we're ready to read body paragraph number 1. So if you will pause and read this next paragraph so that you are ready to discuss. So after reading her first body paragraph, we talked about the structure of a body paragraph and how a body paragraph often starts with a topic sentence. That topic sentence lets us know the topic of that paragraph, and that is an easy spot for you to state or find the subclaim for that paragraph. So here we have one way that pageants exploit children is in a sexual manner. That was her topic sentence. And if we look back at her subclaims, that was one of the subclaims that she stated, one of the reasons that they gave. It wasn't a healthy activity because it forced young girls to exhibit age-inappropriate sexuality. So here, we are going to highlight our subclaims are in yellow. So we're going to highlight that sentence in yellow. And now we're going to add a comment on that sentence. So here we're going to highlight, and we're going to say subclaim / reason 1. I know on my highlighting it changes, or my comments, it changes everything to yellow, but in the platform, it doesn't change the color of your highlighting. You can still see it. So the next thing that we looked at in the body paragraph was, what evidence does she give to support that subclaim? Does she give a quote from an article? Does she provide statistics? Does she provide a personal anecdote or a personal story that was her own experience or the experience of someone that she knows? And we decided in class that she uses a quote from an article. So she quotes Mark Davidson, and then she has his specific quotation right here. So we're going to highlight the quote from the beginning of the quotation marks to the end of the quotation marks, and our evidence is being highlighted in green. Here you can add a comment if you want to add a comment. You might think about, is this good evidence or not? Is it strong and credible? Or you can just highlight it in green, because according to our key we have right here, we know green means evidence. We also discussed in class that she had a second quote down here where she quoted another person named Thoreau, and we highlighted this quotation all the way to the end of the quotation marks. So we'll highlight that evidence again in green. Your next job as you continued reading was to continue reading the next paragraphs all the way through the end of her essay, highlighting to identify her next subclaim, any evidence that would support that subclaim, to identify her counterclaim, and to identify her rebuttal. How did she respond to that counterclaim? So you will continue reading and highlighting those pieces.